Have you ever planted something in your garden that seemed perfect? The kind of plant that promised lush color, low maintenance, and endless compliments, only to realize months later that it was quietly taking over your yard, draining your time, and testing your patience. Well, that's exactly what happened to me in my Zone 9 garden. I thought I was making smart choices, picking so-called hardy perennial shrubs that everyone online swore were perfect for warm climates. But what I ended up with was a living nightmare, a collection of plants that refused to behave, devoured space, and left me wondering if I should just concrete the whole yard instead. And trust me, you'll want to hear about number 7 because that one didn't just ruin my garden, it nearly ruined my weekends for an entire year. Now, if you're a Zone 9 gardener dreaming of a low-maintenance landscape filled with green perfection, pause right there. Because before you grab that next pretty shrub from the nursery, let me walk you through the 7 perennial shrubs I deeply regret planting and exactly why they turned out to be my biggest gardening mistakes. By the end of this video, you'll not only know which plants to avoid, but also what to plant instead, so you can build a beautiful, stress-free garden that actually works with Zone 9's heat and humidity, not against it. When I first started gardening in Zone 9, I got caught in what I call the lure of the lush lie. Every catalog, every YouTube video, every garden center display promised me shrubs that would thrive in full sun, resist drought, and stay compact and tidy. The photos showed perfect, glossy leaves and endless blooms, the kind of thing that makes any gardener's heart skip a beat. And who wouldn't fall for that? The truth is, most of these shrubs do look amazing at first. They grow fast, fill space beautifully, and seem almost indestructible. But that early charm can hide a serious problem, especially in Zone 9. Between our long summers, intense humidity, and mild winters, some plants just never slow down. They don't rest. They spread, they sprawl, they invite pests, and they drink water like it's their full-time job. And before you realize it, what started as one neat shrub has turned into an overgrown beast demanding constant attention. Now, I know what you're thinking. Which ones are the worst? Hold that thought, because as I share each plant, I'll also tell you what I wish I'd planted instead. Let's start with the first culprit, Oleander. On paper, it's drought-tolerant, evergreen, and perfect for hedges. Sounds great, right? But here's what they don't tell you: Oleander doesn't just grow, it explodes. Within 2 seasons, mine went from a small shrub to a towering monster taller than me, sending roots and shoots in every direction. And trimming it? That's a nightmare. The sap is toxic, the leaves irritate skin, and if your pets nibble on it, it can be deadly. I spent more weekends fighting Oleander than enjoying my garden. And yet, when it bloomed, it looked so innocent. That's the trap. Next on the list is bottlebrush, beautiful red blooms, hummingbirds everywhere, instant curb appeal. But nobody warned me that bottlebrush attracts every pest in the county. Aphids, scale, and spider mites turn those lovely blooms into sticky, bug-infested messes. And because of Zone 9's humidity, fungal issues spread like wildfire. What started as a cheerful accent plant quickly became a maintenance nightmare. Every week, I was out there spraying, pruning, and hoping for the best. And then there's lantana. I know it's a favorite for many. It's colorful, heat-tolerant, and grows almost anywhere. But here's the issue in Zone 9. Grows anywhere means grows everywhere. It doesn't know when to stop. It creeps, it seeds, it takes over. I've pulled out so many lantana shoots that I swear it's plotting a comeback every time I turn my back. If you've got a small garden, lantana will eat your space alive. Beautiful, yes, but relentless. Now, you might be thinking, okay, those sound annoying, but at least they're pretty. Sure, for a while. But here's where things get sneaky. Some shrubs don't just cause visible problems, they drain your time, your water bill, and your patience behind the scenes. And one of the biggest offenders? Azalea. Every spring, they explode in pink and purple, a real showstopper. But in Zone 9's heat, those blooms are gone in a blink, and what's left is a thirsty, pest-prone shrub that constantly demands acidic soil and shade that's never quite enough. I spent more time adjusting soil and fighting lace bugs than actually enjoying the flowers. Another regret, Indian hawthorn. It starts compact, neat, and full of promise. But after just a couple of humid summers, it turned into a disease magnet. Leaf spot, mildew, black spots, you name it. I finally had to admit defeat and rip them out. The saddest part? They looked perfect for the first year, which made their downfall even more frustrating. And wait until you hear about number 7, because this one fooled me completely. It looked like the ideal no-care shrub for Zone 9 until it started attacking my fence. But before I tell you that, let's talk about the emotional cost of all these bad choices, because yes, it gets personal. The truth is, every gardener learns by trial and error. But these shrubs, they tested every ounce of my patience. The 5th plant I regret planting is privet. Oh, privet, the so-called perfect privacy shrub. It grows fast, stays green year-round, and sounds easy. But it's an invader in disguise. Privet spreads aggressively, sends runners underground, and before long you're pulling out baby plants from every corner of your yard. I once spent an entire weekend trying to dig up one root cluster only to have it sprout again weeks later. In a Zone 9 climate, it never rests. It just keeps going. Then came Pittosporum, another classic mistake. Its glossy leaves look elegant, but that beauty comes with high maintenance. Between pruning, watering, and constantly cutting back to prevent it from turning into a hedge monster, I realized it had become a full-time job. The irony? I planted it because I thought it would save me time. Now remember that 7th plant I mentioned earlier? The one that messed with my fence? That was Bougainvillea. Yes, it's stunning. Yes, it blooms like fireworks. But those thorns, they're brutal. It climbed, tangled, tore my fence, and shredded my hands every time I tried to prune it. It's a plant that demands your respect or your gloves, and I learned that lesson the hard way. So, after all that chaos, what's the big takeaway? Here's what I wish someone had told me from day one. Just because a shrub can survive in Zone 9 doesn't mean it should be in your garden. Survival isn't the same as success. These 7 perennial shrubs, Oleander, bottlebrush, lantana, azalea, Indian hawthorn, privet, and Bougainvillea, all have one thing in common. They take more than they give. They promise beauty, but deliver endless upkeep. The good news? There are better choices. If you want color without chaos, go for Texas sage, dwarf yaupon holly, or plumigo. These thrive in Zone 9, handle the heat, and don't demand constant babysitting. I replaced my problem shrubs with these, and my weekend suddenly became peaceful again. So, if you're a Zone 9 gardener, learn from my regrets before you plant yours. Tell me in the comments which shrub has tested your patience the most. And if you want to see the list of 7 shrubs that actually made my Zone 9 garden thrive, make sure you're subscribed because that video is coming next. Trust me, after dealing with these disasters, I finally found plants that bloom beautifully without the headaches.